Hello, my friends! Today we're going to listen to a story called Sand Sister. Sand Sister was written by Amanda White. Amanda White is the author, but we're reading this book because of the illustrator. The illustrator of this book is the same illustrator and author as Nino Wrestles the World. You listened to that story yesterday. Remember, for the next 2 weeks, we're going to be studying the works of Yuyi Morales. Today, we're going to just look at a book and listen to a book that was illustrated by her. She did not write the words. This is Yuyi. This is Yuyi Morales. She is the illustrator of Sand Sisters. She's also the author and illustrator of the book we read yesterday, Nino Wrestles the World. Now, when she illustrates a book, it takes 60 to 80 hours for one picture. 60 to 80 hours for one! That means that it takes her 7 months to make one book. That's a long time. She really puts her heart and hard work when she is painting or creating the beautiful illustrations for her books or for other people's books. The book we're going to look at today, she painted. So, Sand Sister. Sand Sister. Written by Amanda White. Illustrated by Yuyi Morales. One hot, bright summer day, Paloma's mom and dad told her, "We are going to a very special beach." Sure enough, when they got there, Paloma thought it was the most beautiful place in the whole wide world. But there was just something missing. Everyone else on the beach had brothers or sisters to play with. Paloma didn't. So instead, she found an old piece of driftwood and started drawing in the sand, all by herself. She drew another little girl, like her, but with curly hair. "I wish I had a sister," she said. "Do you really?" asked a deep voice. Who said that? Paloma spun around. All she could see was a big, old rock. And it was laughing at her. "Meet old Daddy Rock," it chuckled. "So you want a sister," said the rock. And the rock began to blow, softly at first, and then harder, until the little girl Paloma had drawn in the sand began to lift up and come to life. Paloma was amazed and excited and amazed all over again. "You can have your sister until the tide comes back in," said old Daddy Rock, "and you will be the only one who can see her." Paloma looked at old Daddy Rock, and just where his mouth had been, there was just a line of limpet shells. And where his eyes had been, there were 2 fossils. Then she turned around to see her new sister smiling at her. "I'm Sandra," she said to Paloma, "but you can call me Sandy." And oh my, there have never been 2 little sisters who had so much fun. They built a boat of sand and played pirates. They buried each other right up to their necks. They ran after seagulls and chased each other's shadows. They went hunting for treasure in the rock pools and found a crab shell. Then they sat quietly and watched the waves and the sun on the water and held hands without thinking. Later on, when the two girls decided to play jump in the waves, they became silly and started pushing each other. Sandy pushed just a little too much, and Paloma fell over and was soaked right through. "Why did you do that?" Paloma screamed, and she stormed away up the beach before Sandy could say anything. The sisters went their separate ways. Paloma sulked and kicked at the sand. "Better off on my own," she muttered. Then she noticed that the tide was coming back in. Soon Sandy would disappear. "Sandy, where are you? I'm sorry," she shouted. After a few moments, Sandy jumped out from behind a rock. "I missed you too," she said, with a smile on her face. Then the two girls gave each other a big, big hug. "I have to go now," said Sandy. "I will never forget you, Paloma. Here, I found this stone with a hole in it." But already Sandy was disappearing, and soon all that was left of her were the feet Paloma had drawn in the sand. Before long, a big wave came, and they disappeared too. The sun dipped low in the sky. Paloma shivered. She sat down by the water's edge and looked out into all that space and sky. She felt very, very small. Soon Paloma's mom appeared with a cardigan. "Time to go," she said. Paloma's dad knelt down beside her. "Did you meet old Daddy Rock?" he asked. Paloma remembered. She swallowed her tears and nodded. "How did you know?" Paloma whispered. "This beach was a special place for me when I was a boy," he said. "And I had a feeling it would be special for you, too." "Oh, it is!" she cried. "Can we come back here again? It's magic!" Paloma's mom smiled. "You can come and play with your sand sister any time you like," she said. "She'll always be here." As she rode back to the car on her dad's shoulders, she curled her fingers around the stone in her pocket and smiled.